It was a Wednesday morning in late April, the kind of day that felt ordinary on the surface. Clear skies, a soft breeze moving through the streets of downtown Little Rock, and the comforting rhythm of a city easing into its daily routines. That was when Elise Warren stepped into the Capital Federal Bank branch on Maple and Ninth. She wore a navy blue blazer over dark jeans, paired with simple black flats. No jewelry, no flashy accessories, and no designer handbag. Just a soft leather tote slung over her shoulder, with a laptop, a thin notebook, and a pen that had long since run out of ink but stayed with her anyway because she liked the way it felt in her hand. To any casual observer, she looked like someone running a quick errand, maybe a deposit before work, maybe something small. That was precisely how she wanted it. Elise didn't come to this branch to be recognized. She wasn't there to make a scene. She had come because 3 minor complaints, all tied to this location, had landed on her desk at the headquarters of Warren and Creighton Holdings. They weren't the kind of complaints that screamed disaster, delays in business wire transfers, a few unreturned client calls, a snarky tone from someone at the front desk. But they were consistent. And this particular branch just happened to be 10 minutes from her second apartment, so she decided to drop in personally. As she stepped through the door, she took everything in. The spotless tile floors, neutral gray counters, potted plants that looked too symmetrical to be real, and a hush that was just a little too sterile. One man filled out a deposit slip at the self-service kiosk. A young guy waited in line holding a check. The 2 tellers behind the glass barely glanced up. Everything seemed robotic. Elise walked toward the front desk, where a woman in her mid-40s typed something with the kind of slowness that felt almost theatrical. Elise's tone was friendly but direct. "Good morning. Is the branch manager available?" The woman looked up, eyes flicking from Elise's face to her clothes. "Do you have an appointment?" "No," Elise said, still polite, "but I'm with Warren and Creighton. Just need a few minutes." The woman hesitated, then picked up the phone. "Someone from one of the account clients says she needs a few minutes," she murmured into the receiver, covering it with her hand as if Elise couldn't still hear every word. A moment later, a man emerged from the side office. Mid-50s. Khaki slacks, light blue button-down, and a tie that looked like it had been picked out of obligation, not pride. He moved toward Elise with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Ma'am, we're quite booked today," he said without offering a handshake. "What exactly do you need?" Elise gave him a calm smile. "I just wanted to check in on some recent feedback we've received about this branch. A few issues with client services." He cut her off, raising a hand like a traffic cop. "Hold on, you said you're with Warren and Creighton?" She nodded. "Yes." "And they sent you?" "Yes. Just me. I manage." He gave a short, dry laugh, mostly to himself. "All right, and what kind of issues are we talking about?" Elise's smile didn't falter, but her tone dropped a degree. "Some problems with business wire processing. A lack of response to high-tier client calls." "Well, those aren't under my direct control," he said quickly, his voice rising defensively. "We're understaffed, overregulated, and most of these complaints come from people who don't understand how the system works." "I understand," Elise said gently, "but these cases were pretty specific. And since our firm moves a large amount of volume through this branch, we—" "Let me stop you right there," he said, waving a dismissive hand. "I've been in banking 30 years. I know when someone's trying to micromanage something they don't understand. No offense, but this isn't a daycare. We don't need random employees showing up with checklists." He turned slightly, adjusted his tie, and muttered something under his breath. Elise couldn't catch it the first time. Then he said it again, louder. "Figures they'd send the useless one." The lobby froze. The young teller behind the glass paused mid-check scan, her eyes flicking up. The man in line glanced over, brow furrowed. The woman at the front desk didn't move. Elise stood completely still. Her expression didn't change. Not blank. Not hurt. Just quiet. Calculated. "I'd like to speak with your regional director," she said, her voice even and unshaken. "Today, if possible." Ron, as his nameplate revealed, gave a sarcastic laugh. "And I'd like a villa in Naples. Want a coffee while you wait." Elise calmly opened her tote bag, pulled out a sleek black business card holder, and handed him a card. He glanced down casually, then looked again. His eyes widened. "Elise Warren, Chief Executive Officer, Warren and Creighton Holdings." He stared at the card like it had grown thorns. His mouth opened slightly. He didn't blink. The card trembled just enough to be noticeable. "You're the—" Elise nodded once. Calm, not smug, not angry. Behind the counter, the young teller lowered her eyes, pretending to type something on a screen that hadn't changed in minutes. The man in line stepped back slightly, pulling out his phone not to scroll, but to record. Elise gestured toward the glass-walled conference room. "Shall we?" Ron blinked again, then nodded quickly. "Yes, of course. Up this way." He led her through the lobby with none of the swagger he had before. He walked like his shoes suddenly weighed more than they should. When he fumbled the handle of the glass door, Elise waited patiently. Inside she sat, crossed one leg over the other. Poised, Ron remained standing. I want to clarify something," he said, voice strained. "Obviously, I didn't realize who you were. I thought you were maybe with one of the satellite teams." "You assumed a lot," she replied, her tone still level. He gave a nervous laugh. "It's not personal. We get people all the time claiming to be corporate." Elise raised her hand slightly. "I'm not here to debate pressure, Ron," she said. "I came because we received serious complaints. Not from random clients, from our top-tier partners. And this branch handles nearly 30% of our wire transfers. That matters." Ron swallowed. She leaned forward, not threatening, just firm. "Instead of listening, you judged me based on how I looked. You interrupted me multiple times. Then you called me useless. In front of your staff. In front of clients." "I didn't mean it like that," he muttered. "But you said it." The silence was thick. Not aggressive. Just undeniable. "I'd like to speak to your regional director before noon," Elise said. "You'll make the call. I'll wait here." "Yes, of course," Ron said quickly. "And Ron." He looked up. "Going forward, assume everyone who walks through that door deserves respect." He nodded again, but there was nothing behind his eyes now but confusion and bruised pride. Elise opened her notebook, began writing not a report, just to keep her hands busy. She didn't need to write a report. She was the report. 10 minutes passed. Ron was pacing in the far corner of the bank, phone pressed to his ear, nodding to no one. Then came a soft knock. Not Ron. It was the younger teller. Her name tag read Kelsey. She looked nervous. Hands clasped in front of her. "Hi, sorry to interrupt," she said gently. I didn't want the moment to pass without saying something." "Go ahead," Elise replied. "I've only been here 6 months," Kelsey began. "I was right there when Mr. Stratton said what he said. And honestly, it's not the first time. He talks like that of women, younger staff, anyone he thinks won't push back." Elise said nothing. Let her speak. "I didn't say anything before because, well, I need this job," Kelsey continued, her voice barely above a whisper. "But the way you handled it, quiet, calm, direct, it made me feel like I wasn't crazy." "You weren't," Elise said. "I just wanted to thank you." "Thank you for telling me," Elise replied. Kelsey nodded and stepped back out. Ron returned moments later. "The regional director can join us by video. 15 minutes. Elise nodded. "Good. Set it up." The screen lit up. A poised woman in her 40s appeared. "Elise Warren," she said, surprised. "We weren't expecting you." "That was the point," Elise replied. Over the next 20 minutes, Elise calmly detailed everything, not just what had been said, but the pattern it represented. The assumptions. The tone. The disregard. When Ron tried to interject, she cut him off with a glance. Later that day, HR began quiet interviews with staff. One by one, people stepped in. First Kelsey. Then the assistant manager. Then a part-timer who admitted she'd stopped offering ideas because Ron always made her feel small. Elise never needed to raise her voice. She simply showed up. By the end of the week, the regional office had sent 2 evaluators. Ron was placed on leave. Not fired yet. But it was coming. Elise didn't return right away. She didn't need to. Change had already begun. When she did visit again, the mood had shifted. Quiet, respectful. Kelsey offered a shy wave. The new interim manager, a woman named Carla, greeted her at the door. "You didn't just hold him accountable," Carla said. "You reminded the rest of us we're allowed to speak." Elise smiled. Not wide. Just enough. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do isn't shout or slam a door. It's walk through it with calm, unshakable certainty and let the silence echo after you. Because respect isn't about rank. is about how you treat people when you think no one's watching.